us got played by the numbers, now we're watching them rust. Told ourselves we'd never fold, never bust, but now we're sitting with the wreckage, just praying for trust. Markets a mirror, it's all smoke and mirrors. Thought we were kings, but we're stuck in the errors, chasing the game, but the game don't care. Now we're left with silence and a whole lot of air. What's the cost when it all falls apart? We gambled our souls just to play the part. Can you hear it? The crash in the distance, tearing us down, no chance for resistance. What's the cost when it all falls apart? We gambled our souls just to play the part. Can you hear it? The crash in the distance, tearing us down, no chance for resistance.
Oh, brother. Good morning. Welcome back to another episode of the Matt Kohrs Show. It is a beautiful Tuesday, August the 19th, and we're going to see if we can make some money today. Ideally, we make some money with kind of the whole, hey, mom, watch, hands off, and the robot really starts hitting that cash register for us. I made quite a few changes to the code base last night. Quite a few changes to how I want to attack today from the systematic, mechanical, algorithmic trading day or perspective. And obviously that's going to be going down at 9:30. So we're going to see how the newest version of, I guess, the code works. I think this particular variant we're going to call Icarus, just so we're all on the same page. And we're going to see how close to the sun we can fly before we apparently melt the wax off of our wings and come crashing all the way down. So are we eventually doomed to fail? Yeah, that's life. That's entropy. I don't want to get philosophical on you, but that's how it's going to go anyway. The question is, how close to the sun can we get, and is the view going to be worth it? So we're going to be ripping it with Icarus today. I'm very excited. Like I said, up quite a bit last night, and I've made a lot of changes to the code. Like, I'm actually a little bit concerned about how today's going to go, because the chance of me not breaking something in my code is slim to fuck all. So we're gonna be finding out, but obviously that's going to be a little bit closer to 9:30. And I guess since we're talking about it, shout out to Apex. They are today's stream sponsor. You could use that code Goonie to get 80% off. So if you're looking to trade with someone else's capital, lower your risk as you're trying to figure out your own trading system, get a little bit more comfortable with futures trading in general, I honestly think it's one of the most cost-effective, logical ways to really kick off your trading career, where you're not taking on full risk, but you're also not taking on any risk. You have a little bit of skin in the game, and if you do well, yes, you can get a lot of money. So shout out to Apex, pinned to the top of chat in the description of the video. Before we actually get to market open, I do have some news. Honestly, as I'm going to show you, it's kind of a quiet news day. The biggest news is still the same news as of yesterday, where the world is kind of reacting to the Putin-Trump meeting in Alaska. And I guess Zelensky and all the European leaders are saying, all right, cool. Like, what are the next steps? How can we make some progress here? With respect to the overall market, as you're going to see, there's a lot of positive gamma, a lot of sticky price action. The chance of us making a big upward or downward move is very, very minimal. Remember, not every day, every week, or every month is built the same in a trading year. And today happens to be one of those days where it's positive gamma everywhere, above, below. There is one unique play going on. Historically, I've pointed out to you, when we see Captain Condor, as in just two different credit spreads, a call credit spread and a put credit spread, today we see inverse Captain Commodore. And when I say that, I actually mean we see 2 live debit spreads. So if you're looking at SPX, and I'll show you guys this all on the charts, don't you worry, but someone out there to the tune of about 3,000 per vertical, that's how big the vertical spreads are, is either betting that at some point today we're going to get above 6,460 or get below 6,440. So it's not a credit spread, it's a debit spread. So if you don't know what that is, I guess don't worry about it. You should probably look it up so you're a little bit more informed, because it does have a big influence on the market. But other than that, there's really nothing special going on with respect to the overall market. A little bit of choppiness to the downside, but like I said yesterday in the stream and also in the update video, that this is how it's going to be today, folks. Like, I don't think anything's really going to get going until really maybe starting tomorrow, because we have vol expiration tomorrow. And when the vol, all those contracts expires, maybe we're going to start to see some negative gamma creep back into the system. And then from there, obviously today, tomorrow, Thursday, and really Friday, that's when we have all the public speeches and appearances and discussions from the FOMC members. But the big thing is going to be this Friday when Jerome Powell, the chairman of the Fed, does his 10 to 15-minute talk at the Jackson Hole Symposium, and everyone's going to be basically trying to derive any type of meaning out of every single word that he says. So basically, yesterday was super boring. I have a sneaky suspicion that today is going to be another boring day. Obviously, if you're looking just to get a little scalp trade here or there, of course, you're going to have the opportunity to do that. But in terms of making some sort of like big major swing play today, I just don't think that we're seeing, well, I can tell you right now, the data that we have from the market, whether it's price structure, price momentum, options flow, what the big guys are doing, everything is suggesting that this is more of like a whoa, hold your horses type of a period. So, of course, we're going to have opportunity in small little scalp trades, and ideally we can make enough money there doing that just to keep us not bored. But I just want to remind you that ideally, if things really get out of this monotonous doldrums, that ideally things get a little bit more exciting tomorrow. So that's kind of like my base plan. But of course, I'll be going over all of that. And on top of that, we also have some individual equity news. We're still in earnings season. Palo Alto Networks, Home Depot, not though it didn't have earnings, but there is news related to Intel. And then I already see in chat that you guys are chit-chatting about OPEN, OPEN, which is up in pre-market trading. I very, very deeply believe it is another pump and dump, but that doesn't mean you can't make money on the pump and on the dump. Just because something's a pump and dump doesn't mean I'm necessarily against trading it. It means if you are going to trade it, make sure you're going into it with the right mindset of an active trade, as opposed to, oh, I'm just going to buy it and this is like an investment type of a thing. So that's pretty much the skinny on the situation, especially as what some of you are just pretending to start work in your office, as some of you are maybe driving your kids to school. I don't know what you're doing, but this is just, I guess, the nasally soothing voice of Matt Kohrs getting you ready on the day. And with all that being said, let me switch it up over here so you can see what's actually going on. Stock futures tick down as retail earnings roll in. Traders await Powell speech. So yes, we did get Palo Alto Networks last night. We did get Home Depot this morning. I'll be getting into that. And then, as I've already alluded to, the chairman of the Fed will be speaking this Friday at 10 a.m. And of course, I will be filming that. All right. Let me switch this up so you can see where we're at. As I always do, I mark out the previous high, low, and close. As you can see, both the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ are currently trading below their closing value. A little bit of weakness in pre-market trading, but obviously my major watch out of the gate is going to be yesterday's low, especially because if you look at a larger time frame, the 4-hour, the daily, you're going to see that the low of yesterday is pretty much in line with the low of Thursday, Friday, and really yesterday. So if we snap that, that could be a true technical breakdown. Now, am I personally going to be chasing that technical breakdown? I might on an intraday basis for a bit of a scalp, but I don't think I'm going to be doing it as in like swinging puts from here, just because I know today is not going to be the big day where we end up getting all the information we need to confidently be betting our hard-earned money. As I kind of said, the big news is right here, U.S. and Europe to work immediately on Ukraine's security plan. So I'm saying it's the big news of now because the media cycle is boring as fuck. Trump-Zelensky meeting paves the way for Ukraine security guarantees and a trilateral talk with Putin. So this all kind of started on Friday when Trump and Putin were talking in Alaska. No one else was there. Apparently it went well enough, and then right after that, with Zelensky included, all the European leaders started to chit-chat of saying basically, what is the next step? Trump pushes Putin-Zelensky meeting after talks with both. So, like I said, yesterday was as boring as could be, which means that some really, arguably boring news was the major news of the day, and this is a little bit of what they had to talk about. I did find it funny. Maybe some of you remember it from not that long ago, of how when Zelensky showed up, he wasn't in a suit or anything. He was basically in fucking cargo pants and a t-shirt. And then he got into that weird argument with Vance. You're going to notice if you watch any of the clips from yesterday, including Zelensky, shows up in a suit, a lot more respectful. It's interesting how a little bit of time can change a few things here and there. Anyway, here's a little bit of a clip from it.
We're going to have a meeting. I think if everything works out well today, we'll have a trilat. And I think there will be a reasonable chance of ending the war when we do that.
And is this the end of the road for American support for Ukraine? Is today's meeting deal or no deal?
I can never say that. It's never the end of the road. People are being killed, and we want to stop that. So I would not say it's the end of the road. No, I think we have a good chance of doing it. It's been almost 4 years now that a lot of people were killed last week. A lot of people last week. Millions of people killed, but a lot of people last week for whatever reason. A big number, a lot of soldiers, on both sides. And I know the president, I know myself, and I believe Vladimir Putin wants to see it ended.
And as you met with Putin on Friday, today you've got President Zelensky here. As you listen to Russia and Ukraine, which side has the better cards right now?
I don't want to say that. I'm just here to be. Look, this isn't my war. This is Joe Biden's war. He's the one that had a lot to do with this happening, and we want to get it ended. And we want it to end good for everybody. We want it to end good. The people of Ukraine have suffered incredibly.
They have, and well, I think globally there's obviously been various ramifications of this. It's hard to believe that this started years ago at this point. I remember first streaming it when this was like a big deal, and I was like, holy shit, are we going to World War III? It's interesting how long it's taken, and it's also interesting how, as important as this is, especially to something like Ukraine, here in the U.S., it just has, in a certain sense, falling out of our media cycle. Just kind of interesting of how we all have such short attention spans, and they just need the next newest thing for us to all talk about. Will 9 Democrats agree to rate decrease? I don't know what you're talking about. Are you trying to say that all of the members of the FOMC are Democrats? Because if so, that's pretty stupid. You realize that over half of the sitting FOMC members have been appointed by Republicans, right? You know that. Unless you think that somehow elected Congress people, as in elected Democrats and Republicans, get to vote on the rate cut. Because if they do, that's wrong. That's obviously an aspect of the Fed. But once again, if you know that it's an aspect of the Fed, then you should be able to do the research that various presidents have gotten to appoint the current people. And right now, over half of them have been appointed by Republican presidents. And actually, a decent chunk of them have actually been appointed by Trump himself. So that literally just doesn't make sense. But I suppose if you just want to believe random things that you've been told and get spun up of, oh, they're not cutting it because of the Democrats. Yeah, that's a good story, but you're just buying it hook, line, and sinker. No, Matt, but they are all establishment hacks. Well, ask Trump why he put in establishment hacks then. That's a very fair question. If you truly believe that they're Democrats, and if you truly believe that they're establishment hacks, if deeply you believe that, you should be asking the sitting president why he selected some of them.
I think that we had very good conversation with President Trump.
Very good.
And it really was the best one. Maybe the best one will be in the future.
I think if we play this well, we could end this. And we have to end this. We have to stop the killing. We have to stop the destruction of Ukraine's infrastructure.
Now we are here to work together with you on a just and lasting peace for Ukraine. Stop the killing. This is really our common interest. Stop the killing.
The next steps ahead are the more complicated ones now. The path is open. You opened it last Friday. But now the way is open for complicated negotiations.
Everybody around this table is in favor of peace. And we work very hard, and we've worked very hard during the past few years to have a peace which is a robust and long-standing peace.
European leaders.
I just want to play that because of how the president of France was bringing up, like, hey, we all want peace. And I have a question for you. This is like going a little bit back in the memory bank of history, and maybe someone in chat will know about this better than I do. But do you remember, what was it, circa a decade ago, that President Obama got a Nobel Peace Prize? For those of you who don't know, yes, the past president, President Obama, has received a Nobel Peace Prize. You might be thinking, okay, interesting. What did he receive a Nobel Peace Prize for? That's a really good question. I'm not sure that any of us actually have an answer to that, or at least a cohesive one. I'm sure there's something that like media spun up and it sounds good, but it's probably a bunch of words that really mean nothing when you think about it. But anyway, yes, President Obama has a Nobel Peace Prize. And if that's the particular line that we set it at, if Russia and Ukraine come to a truce and it all ends, wouldn't Trump then kind of deserve a Nobel Peace Prize? Imagine if also in his administration, Israel and Palestine also simmer down. I'm never going to say that that's going to end, because I think that's going to be going on forever. But imagine that. I feel like any person in history, if they pulled off one of those things, they would be getting a Nobel Peace Prize. And this guy might pull off both, and then what? Doesn't get a Nobel Peace Prize type of a situation? It doesn't really make the most sense to me. But literally, I think any other world leader, if they pulled off one of these things, would like just be the evident shoe-in for a Nobel Peace Prize. But think about how much the brains of people would break if they gave the Nobel Peace Prize to Trump, not just in the US, but also probably majorly in Europe as well. So many people are so spun up that he's like the modern day like Antichrist, that imagine if the committee gives it to him. Like, how crazy would that be? In a certain way, I want to see it happen just so we can see all the memes and the reactions and everything going on. I mean, in the United States, the world like lost its mind when they saw the Sydney Sweeney American Eagle ad, because she has great genes, like whatever. It's a double entendre. They're just playing on the fact that obviously she's a beautiful woman and she apparently has high quality genes from American Eagle. Like, that spun people so far up. They're like, oh, what are they doing? Like, how could you put a blue-eyed, blonde-haired person saying she has great genes? Oh, man. And that was just an ad for literal pants. Imagine what would happen. In a weird way, I kind of want it to happen just so we can see. Not even a weird way. In a very reasonable, understanding way, I want it to happen just so we can watch the world and see how it goes. I want it so bad. All right. Anyway, that was the big news of yesterday. It'll probably be continuing to be the big news of today. And it's big on a relative sense that we just have nothing else going on. Bringing it to the market, there's nothing scheduled today. Tomorrow, we do have the FOMC meeting minutes. And also tomorrow morning, all the monthly vol contracts do expire. On Thursday, we get some PMI numbers, kind of important, but not the end-all be-all. And then on Friday, Chair Powell will be speaking at the Jackson Hole Symposium. With respect to individual equities, we're still technically in earnings season, even though things are very much calming down. Next week's the last week, and basically that's when we're all listening to NVIDIA. So early this morning, we did hear from Home Depot. Late last night, we heard from Palo Alto Networks. Later on this week, as in tomorrow, we hear from Target. And then on Thursday, we hear from Walmart. So you might want to be paying attention to those two. Palo Alto Networks reports earnings beat, says founder Nur Zuck retiring from company. I always like to kind of track this one because it is a main holding of the Pelosi family. Nancy and Paul Pelosi, heavy into Palo Alto Networks. Home Depot maintains full year forecast even as it misses on earnings for second straight quarter. This is a good one. I like it also. Like, the way I think about retail sales to get an idea of like how's the average consumer doing. That's why I like to check out Home Depot, and also it does have a pretty decent dividend. Even though it doesn't have earnings, big news with Intel, and especially because this has been in the limelight lately with Trump basically calling out their CEO, calling him stupid. Intel is getting a $2 billion investment from SoftBank. Obviously, on this news last night, Intel is very much popping, and I find the timing of it to be interesting. Trump weighs a 10% government stake in Intel as SoftBank buys in. Something clearly is going on in the background here. And remember, SoftBank, Mayoshi's son, I believe is how you say it. I'm probably butchering it. My apologies. But remember, he's involved in Stargate project here in the U.S. with all that money coming in for the AI infrastructure. So there's clearly like a larger play going on here. The fact that Trump's already been talking about Intel, and the fact that as a U.S. we're now going to be kind of in bed with NVIDIA and AMD with respect to their revenue and the chips that they're selling. And then the guy running SoftBank is now putting more money into Intel. It's very evidently, I wouldn't go to the extent of calling it collusion, but there's definitely like an extreme amount of planning going on here. So it might be worthwhile to pay attention to this whole particular narrative as it relates to Intel. Yeah, we have time on this one.
Why would the White House want to take a 10% stake in Intel?
I think this is as much about ensuring Intel's longevity in terms of what the United States government thinks of as national security, Scarlett. I think this is an evolving situation, and we should caution that these plans are still very much in flux. They're very fluid.
The timing of
Intel has not commented on them, but what we can tell you is the United States government is considering taking a 10% stake in Intel. Based on Intel's market cap, I mean, the shares are moving lower on these headlines, but based on Intel's market cap, you're looking at around a $10 billion stake. That would make the United States government Intel's single largest shareholder. And this would be kind of a replication of something we saw a few weeks ago when rare earths company MP Materials announced that it would be receiving an investment from the Department of Defense.
Yeah, that's really important context, that this is part of a bigger picture or a bigger strategy, perhaps. Let's talk about the share price a little bit here. You mentioned that the stock is now lower. When the headline crossed, we did see a little bit of a bump up in Intel's shares, and it briefly erased its losses to pop into the green. It has since given that up and has deepened its losses.
It's up 5%
I know we don't
now.
know the reason why Intel shares are down, but what could be one interpretation for why shareholders don't like this news?
I think if you're a shareholder, you're looking, and you're probably full well aware of some of the challenges facing Intel from a balance sheet perspective. What this deal does on the one hand is give confidence to Intel. It gives confidence to shareholders in terms of you have the most creditworthy institution in the world backing you. But what it doesn't do, at least on the face of it, is solve the problem that Intel has with its product. Intel has been trying to, manufacture chips at scale for some years. Its Ohio plant, its long rumored and long delayed Ohio plant, has been a topic of conversation for many years. Pat Gelsinger, the former CEO, has sort of seen this plant as being key to putting Intel back on the map when it comes to manufacturing semiconductors en masse. That has been delayed quite a few years. I think without customers, without outside customer, you have to remember that Intel doesn't yet make semiconductors for anybody else but itself. You're not really in a hole. You're still in a hole in terms of how much you can sort of afford to lose. And this plant is heavily loss-making.
I kind of like that, of like, hey, don't forget that one of the major issues facing Intel is that their product sucks. Ever since its public breakup with Apple, for those of you who don't know, a couple of years ago, before Apple started creating its own M chips, like the M chip series, it actually was sourcing its chips from Intel. Like I said, this was years ago. Ever since that public breakup, the divorce of those businesses, Intel's not really been able to find its footing. So I wonder if this is going to be the event that gives it enough liquidity to start building out its own team to make more competitive chips. Just interesting story. Wanted to bring it to your attention. Trump administration reportedly weighs 10% stake in Intel via the CHIP Act grants, making government top shareholder. I'm not really necessarily sure how I feel about the government getting so involved in these businesses. That's exactly what goes on in China, and I'm just not necessarily the biggest fan historically about how the Chinese government and economy and everything is intertwined, and all of a sudden you have the government picking winners and losers, and it's influencing regulation because they have their own involvement. And I don't know, I feel like this is on the point of a pretty slippery slope. Obviously, I'm optimistic that it can be pulled off well because it seems to already be happening. But I have a sneaky suspicion that if these exact same things were happening with a different administration, the exact opposite side would be absurdly pissed off. Right now, if you support Trump and the Trump administration, you probably love it. If you supported Biden, if you voted for Harris, you're probably like, this is borderline like some CCP stuff. And my whole point here is, imagine theoretically if the exact opposite party did it. I have a feeling that you would be angry. I think that whether you do or don't like this, there's probably a good chance that your bias on if it's good or bad is being painted exclusively on who you voted for, rather than imagine if you didn't know what party or administration came up with it. If you just took the news as like a whole, it's a little interesting. Like like I said, we're not necessarily on the slippery slope, but it feels like we're coming damn near close to it. All right, let's get ready for the actual trading day. If you haven't already, sign up for the newsletter, mattkohrs.locals.com. It's in the description of the video. Every single Sunday to your email inbox, I deliver this newsletter where I break down what's going on in the market, cheat sheet of earnings, cheat sheet of all the major macroeconomic events, and probably most useful is the seasonality of each individual day. With respect to today, Tuesday, August the 19th, today does favor the bears. Over the past 27 years worth of data, the bulls have only won this day 44% of the time, as in the bears have won it 56% of the time, with a profit factor below 1, means it's profitable to be a bear on this day. Now, for 20 years worth of data, this day was nothing. A little down, a little up, a little down. And then in the past 7 years, it's actually clearly started to favor the bears. So is it the strongest seasonality day? No, but there's really no day in August that we're all like, wow, this is amazing seasonality. For the remainder of the week, tomorrow's leaning bearish, Thursday's more so neutral, and then Friday's also a little bit more neutral. So like, we're just not in a strong seasonal period. And I know that's a little boring to bring up, but obviously this is still actually way more useful in the other months of the year when we see strong pockets of seasonality. All right. I'm going to be pointing this out to you, but I just like really want to show you the net situation. Look at all of this positive gamma. Massive amount of positive gamma. Positive gamma is not bullish or bearish. It means sticky price action. As in, if we go up, market makers sell. If we go down, market makers buy. As in, don't expect big trending ranges today. Is it statistically possible? Yes, but it is also statistically unlikely. The other thing I want to point out to you is what we see on the 0 DTE right here. And let me zoom in. You can see it a little bit better. You can see right here, we have a call debit spread and a put debit spread. It's about 3,000. So basically someone out there is betting that the market either goes above 6,460 or goes below 6,440. Those are the two bets. Generally, we're talking about credit spreads, as in like ending the day somewhere within a region. This particular bet is betting on, they don't care about bullish or bearish. They just care that we either go up or we go down, and we don't stay within this 20-point region. So that's an interesting bet of the day. And of course, if you haven't already, if you're not on the news or if you're not in the Discord, these are all my key levels of the day. As I always do, I mark out the previous high, low, and close. That is the green, the red, and the white horizontal line, important technical and psychological levels. The white box is the transition zone. It just so happens today that that transition zone is the zone in between this inverse Captain Condor. And then obviously the final thing are these yellow horizontal lines, which are basically just going to end up being your major open interest levels. So I think today's going to be pretty simple. If we break above 6,460, look for a push to 6,480. If we break below 6,440, look for a push to 6,415. I think that is honestly as basic as we can keep it. And on that particular note, dingity ding ding ding, the world's largest casino is now open. Best of luck to all, play responsibly, and if not, have fun. All right, like I said, sorry about that. I had up the wrong screen. I just wanted to show you that I have not traded at all today. I have my 20 Apex accounts. I have my 5 take profit accounts, and I did a huge amount of trading to my systematic portfolio. And really what I'm looking for today is if the newest version, Icarus, all right, out of the gate, Icarus is looking good. Icarus is looking good out of the gate. I don't mind that at all. A little bit of slippage here and there, and also for some reason it did not trade on the take profit. Why the fuck did it not do that? Okay, it just decided to not fire for some reason. Okay, so the lead account fired, but it didn't get copied for some reason. Did I just not set up the copier properly? I don't know what that was. I think it's just a copier issue. Obviously, it copied on all the Apex, and for some reason, it only... I mean, it's not that far off, though. So it almost worked perfectly, but it looks like we had a bit of a copier issue there. Let me just disable it and re-enable it. That'll probably end up fixing it, you know? The old, did you try turning it off type of a situation. All right. So thus far, Icarus is looking good. One trade out of the gate. Second trade, I was going to say the second trade looks like it's about to fire. Let's see how this is going to do. Second trade just fired. Come on.
Target filled.
There we go. Trade 2 locked it in. Every count's up about 350. All right. Icarus giving us a bit of a interesting start. Did it work? Okay, it did work there. So I don't know what that was. I think it was just I messed up. I just literally killed the one tab on the copier, restarted it, and there we go. It worked on the other take profits. Basically what I'm doing for those of you who have copy trading, I have one tab for my copy trader on all the Apex, and then I have another tab for all the take profits. So that's why I have basically all of this set up. I have one leading account for Apex, one leading account for take profit, and for some reason I just had to disable and re-enable that, and now it's working. So thus far, we're looking good. We're looking good. We're looking good. I'm liking the start. I'm feeling good. Icarus has had a solid start, but in reality, all of Icarus should be a super high hit. So it's more of those things of it should hit upwards of 90, 95% of the time. It's more of the 10 to 5% of the time that it doesn't hit. Can I like sidestep the pain levels enough? Dude, imagine if I just held that short right now. I'd be up so much fucking money. All right, good start, good start, good start. Remember, if you're interested, we already broke the low. We're already breaking to the bottom side of this debit spread right here. The put debit spread, betting that we exceed 6,440, and ideally it would close just beyond 6,435 for this particular play. It was about, the call side was 3,000. The put side's like 2.5, but they might be taking a little bit of the profits now that we're hitting that level. Of course, I will be showing you guys the options, the delta movement, so we can just use a second data set to see what the generic trend is. And as you can see from the Mag 7, from market open till now, we have a bit of selling, and then also simultaneously that is true here on the S&P 500. A little bit of selling. We had about 30 seconds-ish of it was being fine, and now we're starting to take a bit of a hit. But remember, if you want to trade with someone else's money, check out Apex. They are the partner of today's show. I'm using 20 Apex accounts myself. Great way for you to figure out your system, get a little bit of skin in the game, but really minimize your risk. It's way better than risking your own account. Check it out. You can take the eval test, 80% off with that code Goonie, pinned to the top of chat in the description of the video. A little bit later after market open, if there's any specific questions related to Apex or really any other sim to funded trading, or I guess like my strategies or setup or question or anything like that, I'll answer those questions in a little bit. Let's just wait and see how the market really gets going today. But if you have any questions, comments, or concerns about Apex or a different firm, or just in general what sim to funded trading is, or if you have questions about algorithmic trading, systematic trading, that type of stuff, like here, we'll do questions like, I don't know, in 20, 30 minutes, something like that, if that's cool with everyone. But we are looking, well, the NASDAQ is getting murked out of the gate. Holy shit. What the fuck is happening here? Oh, wait, no, I didn't want to do that. Let's do this. Let's do this. Yeah, so we are at the bottom of that transition zone. We're at yesterday's low. We were at really the bottom side of that debit spread. We're on the put debit spread side. So this is going to be telling. Can we hold this and bounce back up into the transition zone and maybe give us a test of 6,450? Or is it going to fail here and basically start its journey back down, or down to the next open interest level at 6,415 all the way down here? So this will be interesting of, can it catch itself here or not, or do we have a little bit of a waterfall type of action? But anyway, I want to see the daily chart. Yeah, so the SPY has officially taken out the low from Monday, Friday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. We are taking out all these lows. This might be the market's opportunity to still technically bullish. Obviously, we still have higher highs. We still have higher lows. Obviously, where did my, for some reason, I lost my, where is it? A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P. Let me put up the EMA cloud, but we are taking out the recent lows, so that's a technical breakdown, but obviously the overall trend is still pretty freaking bullish. Still pretty freaking bullish. Inputs, show. Okay, we don't need that. Okay, why is that still... Okay, I don't know what the fuck that's about. Anyway, we can still remain in this overall bullish trend, even with a push all the way back down to the lows, 6,300, something like that, because we're just building out this channel, higher highs, higher lows. So it's a pivot point. Obviously, this is just a higher high. And the question is, can we keep a higher low? As in, can we stay above the low from Friday, August the 1st? Can we stay above 6,200? If we do that, that still means we have higher highs, higher lows, which by definition is a bullish trend. Now, the NASDAQ, the tech sector, is looking a bit weaker. It's a bit more evident. Yes, we have higher highs, higher lows. Yes, we are building out in this trend, but this one's been on a clear downtrend, just lower highs and lower lows each day. And once again, overall picture, yes, very much bullish. Short term, we could be coming down to 23,200-ish, and really the bull camp wants us to stay above 22,600, 22,700. Once again, the low from Friday, August the 1st. So we had a nice pump up. We're having a pullback, and the golden question here is, how deep is this pullback going to be? That's the question. That's what we all really, at least in my opinion, need to focus on. All right, with respect to options flow today, Mag 7 still going down, price catching a bit of a bid. S&P 500 was down, attempting to swing back around. How are we? Okay, we did find support at that first support level of the day. It's almost as if these are important levels to pay attention to. It's almost as if the biggest open interest levels of the day can clearly serve as support and resistance, and you should be mapping them out every single day to be able to call out situations such as this. That's crazy. It's crazy if you ask me. Absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. All right, let's disable that. How are we looking? So I'm up about 350-ish per account. Well, I did mess up something over here on the take profit. So one of them's up 280. The others are up 160 because a trade was skipped. But don't you worry. There's still a bunch of time left in the day for me to lose all this money. Does Matt's application automatically create his gammas, or does he have to feed it with paid data? No, that's this. Are you talking about this right here? This is just all on SpotGamma. Just buy a subscription of SpotGamma and you'll get this. I honestly don't know how people could ever have an idea or a thought of being a profitable trader, especially a day trader, without knowing this information. I mean, right now, every single month, every single quarter, options trading is becoming more and more popular. Like literally every quarter, we're hitting new record highs, especially with zero DTE trading. The last time I checked it, it was 54% of all options volume is zero DTE. So if you don't know the levels of where the big money's at, how could you possibly have a shot? Like if you're like, okay, imagine, let me go to this. If it looked like how would you just arbitrarily know that 36-ish was like the bounce point? You'd just be sitting like there's nothing seemingly special about it. I could do the 10-minute, like you'd be like, I don't know, it's a bit of like an overshoot. Like, I don't know, is it a sweet? Like, what is it? Like, you don't know. But then all of a sudden, when you just pull this up and you're like, oh, that's why. It's because there's a debit spread right there. Well, then all you do is go to your chart, you throw it up, and you're like, oh, boom, right there. That's why it's that important of a level. If you're just doing it from like gut feel or whatever, I mean, I guess if you can do it, good for you and Godspeed. But I would find that to be extraordinarily difficult. Very, very difficult. All you have to do is say, oh, wow, okay, someone is playing here, I could zoom in just so we can see it a little bit more. This play and this play are most likely paired up. So they're long calls and short calls. But when you're long the closer call, that's why it's a debit spread, because you're still paying a net debit. If you were to flip it around, if this one was lower and this one was higher, that'd be a credit spread. And that's generally the Captain Condor play. This day is inverse Captain Condor. So that's the call side. And then obviously the put side's right here, 6440 by 6435. So once again, they bought the closer strike and they sold the further away strike. That makes it a debit spread, not a credit spread. And obviously, so someone out there is either betting that we push above here or we push below here. And on that first bet, I wouldn't be surprised the next time this updates, it updates every 10 minutes. I wouldn't be surprised if on the next 10-minute update, we see some sort of shift of maybe either people added to this bet or maybe they took profits on this bet or whatever it is, but we'll see. And then this bet right here in the middle, just because we're here talking about it, this is quite a bit of positive gamma. That's why we have such a deep colored purple node right there. These are sold calls and sold puts, as in basically someone is simultaneous. They're basically saying, hey, we're going to actually end the day very close here. When you sell calls and sell puts at the same strike, you're basically saying that we're going to close somewhere close to that particular strike price. So everything I'm seeing on the map, like as of now, and of course you never know when we're going to get a random update or announcement, this, that, or the other thing, but if we were to freeze frame it right now, today is not really built for some like amazing trending day. It's just not there. And I think every single morning is very, very useful. Oops, why did I lose that page? Hello, Mom? I think it's very useful to know the overall context of like, is this the day that you should be going for big swing trades? Is this the day that you should be taking it a little bit easy? Not every day is built the same. And I've noticed that especially early in my trading career, or even now currently, especially if I'm having like a very undisciplined day, that like I want every day to be some like big, oh, whoa, what the fuck? Palantir is getting murked right now. SPY bounced off its closing value right back up to its low value from yesterday and went right back up to its closing value from yesterday. The NASDAQ overshot its low value from yesterday, bounced back up, and it's finding resistance there. So on a relative basis, the NASDAQ is the weakest, the S&P 500 is in the middle, and small cap sector is actually green. So maybe it is, maybe it isn't, but I'd have to dive into the data a little bit later on today. But it does appear as if we're seeing a rotation from large cap, the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ, over to small cap right now. It looks like there's a pivot of money from some of these big dogs, these big high-flying blue chip stocks, a little bit over to like these small caps, because you're seeing the NASDAQ get hit while the Russell's actually looking pretty good. Looks like the biggest victim on the watch list today is Palantir, down a horrible 5%. Holy shit. Looks like it's very quickly going for this downside gap fill at 160.140. If you are currently playing a reversionary trade on Palantir, if I were your mom, I would tell you to put an alert at the high from Monday, August the 4th, 161.40. Meta, not really doing anything. Nvidia, not really doing anything. Apple, definitely not doing anything. A little bit of a turn there on Netflix, maybe a retest of 1,200 and 1,210 coming soon. Tesla chilling right on the outside of this breakout zone. Microsoft actually overshooting its downside gap fill yesterday and still showing a little bit of weakness. Avago looking like Palantir, of just, it did hit a fresh high, now it's just kind of coming back down. Coinbase doing nothing. MSTR actually right at its breakdown level. RUM break even on the day. Robinhood almost hitting a new all-time high, almost this morning, but doesn't have quite enough follow through. DJT, nothing. Soxel, nothing. Open, it was up more, but now it's very quickly giving it back. Once again, I deeply believe this is nothing but a run-of-the-mill pump and dump. That doesn't mean you can't make money on it. You can play the pump and you can play the dump. You can double dip on it. You can make a lot of money. When I say something's a pump and dump, that doesn't mean you can't get money. It means don't think about it as an investment. Obviously, I'm not clairvoyant. I don't have a crystal ball, but the guy who's pushing this, some dipshit on Twitter, he seems like a complete fucking asshat who I really think's going to just end up rugging everyone, but we'll find out if I'm right. Qualcomm not really doing anything. Ripple not holding $3. Solana at 181. Texas Roadhouse is in the green. Biggest gainer on my watch list, up 1%. Bonds, nothing special. The yield curve, nothing. Oil's at 62. Gold going flat. VIX is pretty much as low as it fucking goes. ETH is giving some of it up. BMNR, that's giving it up as ETH is. Bitcoin's showing at 115. Wait, why did I lose my... Is it calculating? No, I don't want that. I lost my 50 EMA. Oh, here we go. Slow conviction, fast conviction. Okay. Now I got it back. But I wanted to point out how don't need that one. Shoot, why do I keep fucking this up? Sorry. Yeah, we're right at that 50 EMA, which to me is important. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't to you, but I would argue that you want it to hold this. If not, it's setting up a test of 112. Once again, coming back to Bitcoin. Here's where we're at. Oh.
Order submitted.
We're live.
Target filled.
Bada bing, bada boom. Making that money. Making that money. Making that money. So some of these accounts are up 600. Some of these accounts are up 380. But what you need to know is Icarus is treating me right today. Icarus is treating me right. Now, I'm getting an alert on Oklo. I know some people in the Goonie Discord are trading that. If you are in the Goonie Discord and you happen to be in Oklo, I know who you are and I know your position. You might want to be fucking paying attention. And also, I guess that goes for anyone in chat that if you're paying attention to Oklo, you might really want to be paying attention to it today because that's a clear technical breakdown off a lower high. I'm not your mom. I can't tell you what to do, but I do know your wives, and they're not going to be happy with you. I do know your wives. I missed the Wall Street button. Memperor Cusco? Memperor? Dude, I got you. Don't you worry. Don't you worry. We'll have a little bit of a Jimmy Neutron brain blast from the past here. Let's see if I can get into my soundboard. Sometimes my editor likes to lock me out just because that's the type of business I run. That's just the type of the business we run.
Wall Street, 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 Wall Street. Now my stock rising, got the eyes on me. Wall Street.
There you go. And since we're here, since we're in a good move, because I'm making money, I want to show you guys something. I want to show you, you guys know Piper, the lead trader at the, I guess, Icarus Capital here. We actually did hire someone new. Folks, we did hire someone new. Let me introduce you to him. Hang on one second. Hang on one quick second. And if anything trades, make sure you guys pay attention to it. Let me introduce you guys to Eduardo here. We're making some big hires. Oh, Piper actually just freaked out. She sprinted out of the room. But no, we've been in the market for quite a while trying to figure out who else to include in our multi-printing operation. And we finally came across this handsome fella right here. And I think it's going to work out. He's an intern, but if he really shows some grit this upcoming semester, I think we might hire him from a co-op status to maybe a full-time employee. So we're going to be pumping out code way faster than normal. We're going to be doing some cool things, but new hires all around. It's VChat. All right. So basically, if anything ever goes wrong, you guys know who to yell at. He's the guy who's any small little technical issues or anything like that, you guys know who to yell at. You know who to yell at. It's no longer going to be my fault. Ooh, even the Russell's now taking a hit. Mom? I think Matt's losing it. It's crazy that you thought I ever had it. That in itself is a bit insane, but hey, I appreciate that. In a certain sense, that's a very, if things go wrong, can he take a punch though? We might find out. We might be finding out pretty freaking soon. All right, so the Q's clearly downtrend. By definition, a lower high and lower lows. Today's open to the next high, today's first low to the second low, lower high, lower low. By definition, that is bearish on the NASDAQ. Looking at the SPY, we actually have technically a higher high and a higher low. As much as this feels crazy to say, this is currently a bullish trend. It gets sketchy though if we take out the 948 low. If you take out the 948 low, that means you have higher highs, or technically at that point, lower highs and higher lows. So then you have to wait for the next pivot low to be made to kind of decide. But as of right now, that is technically we have bullish SPY and bearish NASDAQ. And then the IWM is indecisive because we have equal lows and we only have one high right now. So it's kind of tough to pick what the trend on that is. So that's obviously just with respect to price structure. Looking at momentum from an options flow perspective, the Mag 7 is down and the NASDAQ is also down, and then the S&P 500 is also pretty much down. So the options flow is basically saying that the bears currently have the upper hand. And just because we're here checking things, the big guys are doing absolutely nothing today. So we're not seeing necessarily large or impactful influence from some of the large players. 10 a.m. turnaround could be. It feels like many days right at 10 a.m. we're seeing various turnarounds, but today's going to be a little bit more complicated because which one is it going to be that turns? Is it going to be the NASDAQ that turns up, or is it going to be the S&P 500 that turns down? So my bet is that there is some sort of a turn. As to do I know who will be doing the turning? No, not so much. What I can tell you is the SPY is holding on by the skin of its teeth. We opened up right at the closing value. We puked down to the transition zone, important support. We bounced right back up, got rejected all the way back down, in fact, to the key level once again. So this is the second major test of this region. And on the second test, as of now, the bulls have been defending it. But we're going to be finding out pretty soon if they have enough in their tank to like actually keep defending it. It is technically a higher low though. And obviously if we take out these high of 6,450, which we might be popping to right now, are the Qs the Qs are catching a pop. If we keep going, that might be continuing the trend of the higher highs and higher lows. And right now for this to inverse on the Qs, obviously you'd have to take out this 942 high. Let's see how the book map is looking today. Oh, that was a lot of buying. It looks like there was some resistance right up here at 23,700. This tool right here is called book map. Obviously, it shows you the sitting sell orders on top, the sitting buy orders below. It shows you the point of control, the highest traded price of the day. That's the POC, the point of control. And then if I scroll out this white line up here, that's VWAP, the volume weighted average price. And then the dots on the chart are aggressive buying and then aggressive selling. Obviously, aggressive buying is green, aggressive selling is red, but it gives you an idea that like right here, someone's trying to sell quite a bit just below 23,700. You saw that turn red and then it got rejected. Let's see if that liquidity gets actually filled. Once again, if it's above, that is sitting pending passive sell orders. Someone's trying to sell right below 2,700 and someone's trying to sell right above it. Obviously, when you have that much, it can serve as resistance. So it just took out that first one. Look at that, a big green circle, aggressive buying, blew through it. But does it have enough follow through to get through the second? We're watching closely. Does it have enough? That's a lot of selling right at 2,700. No one's gotten filled there quite yet. If it did, we'd see giant green circles the way we did before. But it's just getting deeper and deep. Like there's a lot of people trying to sell there, and it looks like it's quickly puking all the way back. Dude, Piper's freaking out. Piper's looking at Eduardo. They haven't met yet. She's like, what the fuck is this guy doing? I think they're going to fight. We might have the first physical altercation here at Kohrs Capital. dude, she is not stoked. Not stoked. She's like, who the fuck is this guy? Anyway, as you guys literally all just witnessed in real time, we ran all the way up to sell side liquidity, and there was not enough follow through. And then we puked all the way down to buy side liquidity, and then we bounced. It's almost as if these massive sitting pending orders have an influence on the market. You don't say. You don't freaking say. I, for one, am colored surprised. I, for one, am very, very surprised. So the SPY currently holding its bullish trend. The Q's currently holding its bearish trend. The Russell does not know what it wants to do. Palantir is getting all sorts of beat up. Netflix is not looking the best either. Netflix is down a good chunk. The only green ones on my watch list right now are Apple and Tesla. The others are down about 1%. Wow. Netflix, Palantir, Slaughterfest. Technically higher lows and higher highs here on the SPY. If it starts to puke right now, that would be a lower high, as in, okay, we have to pause and wait. It's a bit of consolidation. But let's see. Let's see who's going to win this one. The Nasdaq starting to get a bit of a bid. The Mag 7 starting at 953, catching a bit of a bid. And then the S&P 500 popped, dropped, popped, now going sideways. Everything I'm seeing is telling me that this is indecisive as all heck. Indecisive as all heck. Matt, how does tick data work on TradingView? I understand it's not exact tick data. What do you mean, how does it work? Tick data is just a data stream you can buy. Generally, you're talking about the tick of the New York Stock Exchange, even though that's not exclusively it. You can buy other tick data. So the New York Stock Exchange, I think, is about 3.5 thousand stocks. And you could see holistically equal weighted, are they ticking up or down? And it gives you that count of in the last tick, how many went up, how many went down. And then you can net that out and see, did we generally tick up or did we generally tick down? And like I said, most of the time when people refer to tick data, they're talking about the New York Stock Exchange, but you can purchase it for other ones as well. Undecided candles. Yeah, we are very much dealing with undecided candles at the moment. So as I was pitching you guys all day yesterday, and I'm going to pitch you again all day today, just wait. Wait for that perfect opportunity. Please don't force anything. And there's a chance that we don't see the perfect opportunity today because the entire market is basically just stuck in the quicksand of an immense amount of positive gamma. You can do with that information whatever you want. If you want to sell premium, great. If you want to take the day off and go walk the dog and catch some sunshine, hey, that's also phenomenal. But this is not. It's just really not the time. It's not the time to take those big swinging trades. Are these option limits with Apex, i.e. debit spreads? Apex has nothing to do with options. Do you base any of your strategies off of a scout bar? I don't even know what the fuck a scout bar is. Did you just make that up? Squat bar? I literally think you just made that up. What the fuck? Dixie Normus. What is a scout bar, dude? The internet doesn't even know what a scout bar is. Bros making up strategies. Bros making up strategies. Tesla just got some sort of an alert. Oh, actually a potential bullish reversal here on old Tesla. So that, I mean, might be an interesting one to watch today. Tesla looking actually somewhat decent. Hey, Matt, when is J-Pow going by and who's his replacement? We don't know his replacement. It's probably some dude named Kevin, and May of 2026. May of 2026. it's like 1348 BS. No, it doesn't sound like it. 1348 is just an EMA crossover, which was, I don't know why 1348 got popularized. It's so easy to backtest that if you use the 13 and 48 EMA crossover, it's not like those are some magic EMA lines that people really care about. You might be able to use that as a filter, like generically, are they both positive or negative? Like which way are they trending to identify trend? And maybe you can build a stronger, more robust system around it. But if you're exclusively trading the 1348 crossover just because it's crossing over, it's only a matter of time before you blow out your account. It's not like that strong of a signal. Kevin Malone, no, but that guy's a piece of shit. I truly cannot believe that people can't see through him. He's literally a paid stock promoter. And at this point, there's like public disclosures, like SEC filings of him getting paid. And then people are like, nah, he's on our side. Like if you're following that guy on Twitter, Malone Wealth Management, please understand that you're following an absolute fucking retard. And feel free to tell him that I said that, because I would actually not only say it to his face, I would spit in his face, because the guy is nothing but a grade A scumbag, a grade A plus scumbag. He's people like that deserve to just fucking rot in jail. Like he's just such a piece of shit. I think Trade Trades is going to replace Powell. I don't think they let degenerate rejects become the chair Fed, or the Fed chair, but maybe. Maybe. Crazier things have happened. All right, so we have a bit of a downsloping trend line on the NASDAQ and a bit of an upsloping trend line on the SPY. The question is, who's going to win? Downward bearish trend on the NASDAQ, upward bullish trend on the SPY, which is a bit interesting, being the most weight for both of these things, as in like the things that they take into account are pretty much the same. So very interesting to see that they are doing completely opposite things. What are we looking at over here? 5-minute on the S&P 500 is bullish, 10-minute is bullish, 30-minute is bullish, 4 hours bullish. So across the board right now, with respect to momentum, the S&P 500 ES contract on the futures is all bullish. 5-minute, 10-minute, 30-minute, 4 hour. The NASDAQ is a different story. 5-minute, 10-minute, 30-minute is bearish, while you have the 4 hour actually now also bearish. Oh, that's crazy. I don't know if I've ever seen this before, where the 5, 10, 30, and 4 hour on the NASDAQ is one thing, all bearish, and then the 5, the 10, the 30, and the 4 on the S&P 500 is the other thing, all bullish. I don't know if I've ever seen that when all four agree on one and all four agree on the other, but what they're agreeing on is the exact opposite thing. The exact opposite thing. That's fascinating, actually. That's something. Huh. Well, it'll be interesting to see who wins this. The Mag 7 catching a bid at 9:53, but hey, we could call it the 10 a.m. turnaround, but technically today it did start at 9:53. Looking at the S&P 500, hey, we could call it the 10 a.m. turnaround, but technically this one kind of started at 9:51, 9:53. So for the plot, we'll make it more interesting. Okay, technical breakout right there on the NASDAQ. For the plot, we'll definitely make it more interesting and call it a 10 a.m. turnaround, but just so you guys know, it actually started around 9:53 today. ES will pull NQ by its jocks. Well, apparently that's what's going on, because in a matter of from 9:32 to 10:04, we went from taking out yesterday's low to taking out yesterday's high. Once again, why are we seeing these levels? Like, what's so important about those specific levels? Well, remember, we are... hang on, that's a little bit too large. We are talking about the inverse Captain Condor. We're talking about a put debit spread and a call debit spread. We tested one side, and now guess what? We're ping-ponging back all the way up to the other side. For those of you who are maybe missing it, I could show you it here with the gamma. Let me zoom out a little bit more. right here we have, well, actually the 40 by the 45 has kind of left us a little bit. Oh, they've actually decreased this bet side. The 60 by 65 we saw this morning, that bet is actually dropping now. They cut it from 3.2 thousand down to 1.6. So the call debit side of this inverse Captain Condor, the size got chopped in half and they actually rolled it up higher. And now maybe it's two different credit spreads, 70 by 75, and then there's another one at 80 by 85. That's just me guessing. I don't know which ones are paired up here, but I would assume this is actually now transformed from a debit spread at 60 by 65 to now a credit spread 70 at 75 with another one on top of that 80 by 85. And to clarify, these have been made within the last 10 minutes. These are new bets in the intraday trading session. So so what does that actually mean? Maybe instead of me just saying it out loud, whoa, that's actually the biggest bet of the day, 7.8 thousand. So what that actually means is someone is betting with quite a bit of money that we end the day below 6470. That's this bet right here. And then this other bet, 4.6 thousand, they are betting, and it might be the same player, I have no idea. They are betting we end the day below 6480. So the new bet that's come in since markets open is this guy right here. Someone is betting with a good chunk of change, actually the largest bet of the day on a 0 DTE basis, 7.8 thousand, and it's brand new. Yeah, they made it between 950. Honestly, the creation of that play might be some of this delta movement here. But anyway, they are betting on it the day ending somewhere below 6470. It might be by a cent. It might be by $6,470. I have no idea. But that bet makes full profit if we end the day below 6470. Rolled it up and smoked it? Most likely. I mean, at that point, it's just kind of conjecture, but I wouldn't be surprised if that's exactly what happened. They're like, this is getting a little testy, and they just rolled it up. Honestly, maybe on the pump, they were net profitable, took that money, and then went from a debit spread to a credit spread. That's possible. Once again, that's only if this is all the same guy. It could be a completely different person. It could be a group of completely different people. Once again, that part of it's conjecture of who's doing it. I'm just letting you know, in the net situation, what's happened. Once again, might be the same player, might not be. But the net situation is someone did have a call debit spread. That play got taken off the table, and now we're seeing the creation of two new the debit spread got taken off and two new credit spreads were made above. If you don't know what a credit spread is, a credit spread, a call credit spread, for those of you who are familiar with sports betting, it's the same thing as an under bet. So whatever, if you're betting on whatever sport and you're going under on a total score, that's the same thing in the stock market. That's a call credit spread. A put credit spread is the same thing as an over bet. It's an over of I don't care how much over, I just think it's going to be over this value. So a call credit spread is the same thing as an under bet in sports betting for total score. A put credit spread is the same thing as an over bet in sports betting, if that helps some people out. And debit spreads, a little bit different. It's kind of the same as an over and under bet, but there's some different dynamics and it's not necessarily binary. So it's easier to think of credit spreads, whether the call or the put side, and finding out an equivalent in the world of sports betting rather than debit spreads. You can, but the metaphor starts to break down pretty rapidly, actually. Like I said, Tesla's having a good day. Definitely having a good day. Looking at the daily chart, that's quite the recovery we have going on right now, right here. A little bit of a downtrend going up now. And then if you look at the Qs, still has some distance to go. So we're still being sold on the daily chart, the bearish story, the short-term bearish story on the NASDAQ. Lower highs, lower lows, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bars in a row. Lower highs, lower lows. The SPY is different. More of flat, not really doing anything. If anything, I should probably set up these breakdown and breakout alerts. All right, I'll set up some alerts just so we know if we're actually breaking down this range. But in the 5 days that the Qs have been trending down, those same 5 days, the SPY has literally just been going perfectly sideways. So the overall market telling us a slightly different story than the NASDAQ, telling us a very different story than the Russell, which actually broke up, came down, trying to put in a higher low, and looking for it to take out, I guess, 229. And then from there, it might be returning back up to 231.5. So I haven't been recently trading the Russell, but there might be an opportunity brewing pretty soon here because it has a little bit of a technical breakout today. 226, pushing up to 231. This one's really going to like it. The small cap sector is going to start popping off when it's kind of like confirmed that we're getting rate cuts, and the more the rate cuts, the better the Russell's most likely going to do. And you could tell that from here Tuesday when we got that lower than expected inflation report. That's exactly when the Russell ripped, and then it ripped the next day. And then on Thursday, we got a hotter than expected PPI report, and that's when it settled down. So this one's going to be highly reactive to whatever Powell does or doesn't say this Friday. This Friday's commentary from Fed Chair Powell is going to have a huge impact on what the Russell does or doesn't do. Obviously, everything is, but the Russell's going to be one that definitely uniquely has some good range and some good movement. Good range and good movement. Did anyone ever figure out what in the world the scalp bar question was about? And also the other person who thought Apex, just so you guys know, if you see this screen right here, this has nothing to do with options trading. I'm getting that quite a bit, not only like here in live chat, but also on some of the videos of like, oh, like option, like this is not options trading. This is futures trading. The way you could trade equities, the way you could trade options, the way you could trade crypto. Futures are a whole nother thing, and that's what this is. And you could tell it's option or futures because this is a futures contract. NQ is the futures contract for the NASDAQ. And I think some people are confusing it because they hear the word contract, but really a futures contract and an options contract almost have like nothing to do with each other. Like the similarities between the two is pretty much like slim to fuck all. What in the world is going on with Finland Parliament? I don't know. I honestly don't even know if I care about that one. I didn't know that Finland had a parliament at all, in fact. It's a story about me. I'm just not really up to date on Finnish politics. But hey, I guess no one's perfect. When I use ChatGPT to set up some Apex strategies, it brings up scalp bars. I have no fucking clue what you're talking about, dude. Scout bars? Like, I literally just... Google doesn't even know what you're talking about, man. Do you only trade futures? No, I trade options and stocks as well. Well, I invest in stocks. I have a long-term investment account, and then I actively trade options, and I actively trade futures. And the reason I actively trade those ones are because they are highly levered. So it makes me feel away. But in terms of trading stocks, I find just like once you start trading a heavily levered product, trading stocks then becomes like super, super boring. So I invest in those in the long term, obviously. That's like what my IRA's in and whatnot. And I just kind of, I pick stocks that I fundamentally like. It's not really a technical breakdown or anything like that. It's more a fundamental analysis. And then I just invest in it for the long term, as in like quite the hold, quite the long-term hold. Oh, this is not going to be trading anytime soon, is it? Only if you can predict the future, dude. I wish. Matt, can you explain and go over with us about scalp bars? Oh, of course, yeah. That's going to be actually what the next video is on, is like an extensive breakdown of how scalp bars tell you the future. They go into the future, seek out what's about to happen in the market, and then come back to you in real time and tell you. The scalp bar in trading refers to a specific type of candlestick pattern characterized by a small range relative to the previous bar, sometimes referred to as a squat bar. These bars can... so it sounds like candle bar analysis, which is fucking astrology for dudes. I like that. Like, it can signal. These bars can signal potential trading opportunities when analyzed in the context of price action, which also simultaneously means that if they can do that, well, maybe then they also can't. So as true it is to say these bars could potentially signal something, they also might potentially not fucking signal anything at all. So my question, whenever you guys come up with any like trading idea or methodology or concept, the question is, where is your edge? What piece of information do you have that suggests this is a smart financial bet? What suggests that the risk reward paradigm is worth taking rather than just like gut feel? You may be getting confused as Apex actually has a shitty trading course. It sucks. They use footprint bars and they use maybe ChatGPT confused. Well, there's many services out there called Apex, but I think that's like Apex quote unquote trading. But I think that's different than Apex Sim to Funded. Like there's a lot of things within really, I guess, the modern day market and capitalism that like they brand themselves as Apex, whatever, XYZ. I don't think that that's the same Apex. There's actually also Apex Clearing Corp, which is actually, or it was used by things like Robinhood. So back in the day when Robinhood took away the buy button, you probably heard the word Apex at that moment in time because Apex was called the clearing brokerage. So they did all the connections and whatnot to the DTCC, the Depository Trust Clearing Corp. So but once again, that Apex has nothing to do with this Apex. It's all just, I don't know. For some reason, people like to name their fucking companies some Apex variant because it makes you feel cool. Like, it's the Apex. Like, we're the best. We're the top. We carry the logs. We burn the boats. We carry the logs to the boats and then burn those because the only way forward is forward. The only way forward is through. And we're fucking burning boats and logs because we're the Apex. It's pretty much like that kind of a vibe, essentially. The guy who created trader funding is the same Daryl teaches it, and the dude who runs the trader funding, but it's all 10 tick bars. They made Apex as they used. I have no idea what you're trying to say, dude. Also, I don't know if I would necessarily be taking lessons from a person who made a SIMDA funded company, because remember, they profit from you not being good at trading. So inherently, that's kind of like a good litmus test there of like, if someone is making money off of you not being good at trading, would you necessarily want to take their tips and tricks and ideas of how to make money off of trading when you know they make money off of you not being good at trading? It doesn't make the most sense. Doesn't make the most sense. You know? Oh, dude, she's freaking out because of Eduardo's here. She doesn't know what to do. She's been walking around on my feet this whole time, freaking out, displeased. She keeps looking at him over there, giving him the mean dog. She's mean mugging him. She's mean dogging him. It's all right. You'll be best friends with Eduardo. He's your buddy. He's your buddy. He's your buddy. Matt does a really good impression of himself. Thank you. I, too, carry the logs to burn the ships. What are you doing, dude? What are you doing? Why don't you just take a nap? Why don't you just take a nap? Hang on. Nap time. She can hang out. She can share that chair. Eduardo was meant to get fucking rocklet or attack him. Dude, she might just go and claw out his eyes. She is unhappy. She is unhappy. And so am I, because the market is doing nothing. So since market open, by definition, the S&P 500 has been in an intraday bullish trend. Higher highs and higher lows. We have one high, we have two highs, we have three highs. The lows, higher low, higher low, higher low. So we have higher highs, we have higher lows. By definition, that is bullish. What's interesting here on the Qs is it did have lower highs and lower lows, and then at 10:01 it put in a higher low. So that's like, okay, cool. Like we might be pivoting, we might be switching from bearish to bullish, and then it popped up. But unfortunately, it did take out one of the highs, but then it was tied with the other. So still, it's a bit of a consolidation, like rather than a strong trend. So you kind of have to just wait for us to either take out 575.50 or take out 574.25. So we kind of have a weird $1.25 range that we're awkwardly just like waiting for something to happen. So SPY strong, Qs were weak, maybe potentially turn around. Tesla, I would say, is the main winner equity of the day, while Palantir is the main loser equity of the day. With respect to options flow, the Mag 7 sold off. We popped, now going sideways. S&P 500 sold off, popped, now going sideways, but actually catching a little bit of a bid right here. So the SPY still showing a bit of strength. Maybe it wants to retest these key levels. But remember, we are within the transition zone. That is the giant white box on my screen right now. This, by definition, is the zone in which market makers really don't feel much of an influence to push it up, to push it down, to buy or sell, as in it's choppy. Like it's exactly that. It's a transition zone. So just keep in mind that even though we're getting a bit of a pump, we're getting a pump in the overall context of a huge amount of negative or positive gamma, and just generally choppy bullshit. The only interesting thing we've seen since market open is the creation of this play right here up at 6470. Someone sold a bunch of calls there, as in they're betting we end the day below that value. So they don't care if it's up at 6469.99. They don't care about that. That's a win. That's as much of a win as it ending all the way down here. It's a binary bet of like, are we above or are we below? It's a sports. It's the equivalent of, if you bet in sports, the under bet. That's all they care about. They don't care how much under. They just care that we are under. That's pretty much the major thing that's jumped out to me since market open. And for those of you who are maybe just tuning in and you need a count of what I've been doing, I haven't traded any options yet today just because it's a choppy bullshit mix. But I have traded quite a few futures. And you can see that I'm trading on 25 accounts. I have 5 take profits and I have 20 apex. I do want to clarify that these are all currently in the eval stage because I'm working on building out my new trading system, which I call Icarus, because the whole point of it is how close to the sun can we fly before we get burned up and come collapsing down. So Icarus, this is day 2-ish, 1.5. I don't know. It's either day 1 or 2, depending on how you want to count it. I would say today's day 1 because I've made quite a few changes late last night. Quite a few changes. So thus far, Icarus is starting off pretty strong. Take profits are up. We had some of these that didn't trade. The bottom 4 didn't take the first trade because I didn't put on the trade copier. But the Apex accounts have taken every trade and they're looking pretty good. So I mean, I'm up about 500 on 25 accounts. That's about 12.5K. Once again, I can't take that money out yet. I can't request it out because when you do SIM to funded trading, you have to not only have enough profit, but you have to follow the other set of rules on the firm, such as consistency rules or drawdown rules or risk to reward ratios, or even just straight up trading days. Did you trade for enough days? So even though I'm making good money, I can't like take it out into my bank account quite yet. Because I haven't properly hit all the other, I guess, benchmarks that I have to hit. So I just want to be, even though this is awesome and I'm happy that it's up 12.5, I don't want any, especially new viewers in here, to think that like I can take out this money and put it in my bank account today and go like spend it at like tequila bar tonight. That's not going to happen. I wish it were, but nonetheless, it is not. All right, we are in a really awkward position here on the Qs where it clearly has both lower highs and higher lows. So, oops. Yeah, awkward consolidation. Lower highs, higher lows. That is by definition consolidation. While the SPY by definition is in a bullish trend. Tesla by definition is in a bullish trend. Palantir by definition is in a bearish trend. Looking at the options flow, Mag 7 is flat. NASDAQ is flat/down, and the S&P 500 is flat. Looking at the big guys, they are actually slight net buyers today, which makes sense because this is pretty much exposure to the New York Stock Exchange, which is going to have quite a bit of an overlap with the SPY, and the SPY does have a nice trend to the upside. And then looking at the heat map, once again, if you want this tool on the screen right now, it's called Bookmap. It's in the description of the video if you want a discount, but I'm starting to see it dive.
Order
I'm starting
submitted.
to see it dive. Is that me? Icarus? Buddy? Where are we going?
Order filled.
Nice. Icarus hit it again. Well, now we're up about 14K. There we go. That's how we do things. That's how we do things. Oh, I cannot stress this enough. I'm in this weird world where you guys get to see me doing my systematic trading, and then a lot of you email me, you DM me, and you're like, dude, how do I do that? I want to do that. I made a video series for free. Beat Apex. Easily build your own AI trading strategies to pass Apex. There's episode 1, episode 2, episode 3. The whole point of this series is taking you from 0 to 100. The first one is literally for people who have no coding knowledge, no systematic, mechanical, algorithmic experience whatsoever, and teaching you the skills of how to utilize AI, such as ChatGPT or Claude or whatever, to build it out for you. So you don't have to code. You're using the AI systems to do that. And this is obviously episode 1, 2, and 3. And it's just iteratively building on all the concepts you need to know and making it more and more complex. So if you're like, dude, I want my own Icarus. I want something to trade for me. Dude, I'm not selling you shit. It's just out there for free. Here's video 1. Here's video 2. Here's video 3. It's also up on Rumble. So if you're watching on Rumble right now, this is there. You don't have to go to YouTube or anything. If you're watching on YouTube, it's on the secondary channel. So on the secondary channel, it's at Matt Kohrs. There's no spaces or underscores or anything like that. This is the picture. It's me as Velvet Kohrs, and the most recent 3 videos are there. And then same thing on Rumble. If you come to there, let me go over to my content. You're going to see right there. There's episode 3. Episode 2, and then also I have to go back another page, but episode 1's going to be there. So they're both loaded up there. Like I said, it's not like a paywall or any bullshit like that. And it looks like 1.4 thousand took advantage. 1.4 thousand people took advantage of it, the first one, and then we're dying off 1.1 and now 350. So I know it's not for everyone. I know not all people have an interest in systematic trading, but to be completely honest, I believe it's the only way to approach the market. I really, really do. Because not only are you directly quantifying your entry and exit criteria, but then you're doing it in an emotionless way where the robot's taking care of it for you. So you come up with the exact criteria of when you want to get in, of when you want to get out for either direction, and then you just have the bot do it for you, which removes you from the equation. It removes you from the decision-making process where, oh, you're betting too big, or you're not betting big enough, or you overslept and you missed the first trade of the day. Like it's a perfectly algorithmic thing. So you're still coming up with when you want to get in and when you want to get out, and then from there, you're letting the bot execute upon your basic, your trading methodology, but perfectly. What API do you use? You don't have to use an API. You can just build it directly in Ninja. They have their own native language called NinjaScript, which is basically C#, and they have their own internal like IDE and whatnot. So you could just run it here. Like literally that's what you're seeing about, I'm not connecting to an API. I just have the strategies turned on right here in Ninja. But that's also specific to Ninja. For example, Public, the place where I trade options, they do have an exposed API where you could just hit their API endpoint and execute trades that way. There's lots of ways to do it. Lots of ways to do it. Oh, shout out Jay Bones sending 1 gift membership. Chems Trading, you are the lucky recipient. You are the lucky. Just used it to make ThinkScript. Oh, you use ChatGPT? Yeah, that's another thing you could do for Thinkorswim. Like who owns that now? TD Ameritrade. But yeah, they have their own shit too. A lot of these built-out brokerages have their own either API or internal logic that you can run systems on them. And what is happening? Okay, so we are officially an hour into the day, and the SPY is basically, it pumped and it pulled back roughly halfway, and the Qs are basically at their low of the day. The daily chart is not looking so good on the NASDAQ. Like I said, this is the 5th bar in a row, lower highs, lower lows. It's not looking the best. And actually, I think you could see it even better on the NDX chart. I already have the channel built out. I mean, this thing could pull all the way back to 23,200 and technically still be bullish. And then if that breaks, that's when we start talking about the 50 EMA. That's when we start talking about 22,600, 700. I wish I played this, but I didn't, because the SPY isn't giving breakdown signs. It's given, hey, we're just going sideways signs. So that's the reason why I'm not in NASDAQ puts right now, is just because I'm getting conflicting signals on the S&P 500, and these should be a bit more correlated.
Order submitted.
What? Oh, it made it that fast. See? Right there. You guys just got proof that I was fucking off. I was feeling myself, not feeling myself up, but I was feeling myself explaining to you guys the difference between the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ. So I missed it. I wasn't paying attention when there was a statistically advantageous opportunity for me to go short on the 1 hour market open breakdown. That happened. The bot took the short. I was fucking off, and yet I made more money. I don't know how much I have to like beat this into your heads, but I will never be convinced otherwise that the best way to approach the market is mechanically, systematically, algorithmically. If you look at the people in retail, all the way up to the biggest echelons of Wall Street, the ones who do the best are not discretionary. The ones who do the best are all algorithmic. If you're talking about Renaissance Technologies, if you're talking about Citadel, if you're talking about D.E. Shaw, if you're talking about Susquehanna, if you're talking about Two Sigma, if you're talking about Hudson Trade, like all of the best ones are all algorithmic. Like the fact that, okay, think about this with another metaphor. If you were, I don't know, a fan of a particular sport, and you notice that all the people who are the best at that sport do a particular training like regimen, and you want to be really good at that sport, don't you think it makes sense to do what all the best people are doing? Like to me, it's so obvious. And I don't know. I think maybe for a while there, retail traders, they didn't even know that it was a thing. And when they did figure out it was a thing, they're like, well, I don't know how to code, so it's not really for me. And the barrier to entry was too high. But now with the growth in technical ability from AI, such as like ChatGPT and Grok and Claude, no one has an excuse anymore. You no longer have to be like, oh, I don't know how to code, because it can do all the coding for you. You do not have to code anymore. There are systems out there that will do all the coding for you. So to me, you literally have no excuse. Like before, I kind of understood it. You're like, well, hang on. I don't really understand the statistics. I don't really know how to code. I don't really know how to set it up. And I kind of understood it, but I always thought, well, you could just teach yourself. And now you don't even really have to teach yourself, because AI will do 90% of the work for you. 90% of the work for you. Yeah, but they are the market makers, the house. Renaissance isn't, D.E. Shaw isn't, Two Sigma isn't, Citadel is, but what's your point? Because I named one market maker, you think that they're all market makers? Hudson Trading isn't. If you look at the best hedge funds, as in not market makers, that are continually on the list of the best performing ones year in and year out, the one commonality, Millennium is another one, they're all gonna be systematic quant traders. That's it. Day in and day out, because it stops you from having an off day, an emotional day. Maybe you're traveling, this, that, the other thing. It's a cold robotic system, and it removes you and the human emotions from the decision-making process, which is very clearly the optimal way to engage in the market. Citadel is, okay, so I named one and you're applying that to all of them, but also Citadel has a hedge fund that's, so you're also still wrong. Does Citadel have a market-making arm? Yeah, but I was talking about Citadel, the hedge fund. There's Citadel and Citadel Securities. Those are two different things. Well, they say they're two different things, but that's a whole different story. But Citadel also has a hedge fund that's also very good, that's also very much quant-driven. I did Jane Street Kaggle AI competition. Okay. What's the point of? I'm still confused on the point of this conversation. That you're a market maker. I guess congrats. I don't know what you want me to tell you, dude. Well, technical breakdown here on the Nasdaq. Almost a technical breakdown on the SPY. It overshot it, bounced right back up to the top. It's also at the closing value. So the SPY is being pinned to the closing value from yesterday while the Qs are legit breaking down. And the pinning, guess who it benefits? It benefits this player right here who sold all those calls up at, I mean, this guy's raking in money. Oh, it's even larger now. At 8.2 thousand. Jesus. It's even larger. Well, fuck it. I'm going to copy that guy. Fuck this, dude. I'm not letting some guy fucking make an easy money play that I can benefit off of. Dude, one of the beautiful things about trading is when you notice smarter people are doing something, you don't really have to ask them about it. You could just copy them. And that's what your boy's about to do. If I can figure out how to fucking execute this trade. Ah, fuck. It's not worth anything, though. Ugh. It's already decayed so much. It's not worth dog shit. Do I want to do it anyway? How degenerate am I feeling today? Am I feeling degenerate? Yes, no, maybe so. 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 Am I feeling degenerate? Yeah, fuck it. Whatever. Money's fake. Money is not real. If Jay Powell can print it, why can't I? All right. If you're in the Discord, Piper hasn't fired, but I'm just copying the play that we're seeing get loaded up on. It feels like it's free money. Like, what's the worst that could happen? It's not like the market's going to have a crazy afternoon reversal and blow out my entire account. That would be impossible, right? That's never happened before. That wouldn't be allowed, right? We never see late day reversals into volatility expiration. That would be nuts. No, they would never do that to me. The markets are a fair, forgiving place. Right? Fair, forgiving place. Shown on Spot Gamma. All right. If you're in the Discord, I just put it in. I think I did at least. I hope I did it right. Okay. I did kind of. We'll find out. I don't know. I'm not my mom. I don't know. What time is it? 38. 38. All right. So I did sell some premium. What are we doing here? Tonto? Let's go to the 500 tick. Everything's just trending down. The 10 EMA, the 20 EMA, and the 50 EMA. That is getting beat up. All right, we're looking good. We're making money today. I know a lot of people are probably losing quite a bit of money, but I'm almost up $1,000 per account. If this trades 2 more times, every Apex account should be up about $1,000, which, hey, I'll take that for a random ass Tuesday. What I'm a bit nervous about is I think my system is going to go short, and I don't want it to go short right at buy side liquidity. So I'm a bit nervous about it, team, if I'm being completely frank. I know a lot of you know me. We just took out that. All right. Is it going to vomit now? So we had all those sitting sell orders, excuse me. We just took that out, and now is about to vomit back down to 23595. Oh, More buying coming in. Buying, buying, buying. It took out that sell side right there, right before 1040, very aggressively. There is some sellers up here at 620, and then there's some buyers down here at 95. There's not many sellers at 20. There's actually more up here at 26. Oh, now they're coming in. There they are. Remember, anything, the highlighted, the heat map above is sitting sell orders. The heat map below is sitting buy orders. Passive buy orders, passive sell orders. The bubbles are aggressive orders, as in traversing the spread. If it's green, they traverse the spread and hit the ask. If it's red, they traverse the spread and hit the bid. So that's why the green is aggressive buying and the red is aggressive selling. Those are orders that hit the tape. They went through. These passive orders, the heat map, they're just pending, and they might end up going through. They might not. They might be added to. They might get pulled away. You just don't know. But right there, you see how we had sitting passive sell orders. We went up to it, and those orders got filled. That's the aggressive buying. Aggressive buying took out the pending sell orders, and then it disappeared. So basically, that seller got a fill. What I would assume is someone came in here, bought it off this bounce off 23,600, wrote it up 20 points, locked in their profits, and they said thank you, and they moved on with their life. Per contract, that's $400 right there. That was a sick, like a super, super easy $400. Not a bad play, honestly. Oh, I don't like this. 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 Whoa, Tesla not holding at all, brother. What
target
the fuck?
Target filled.
I got lucky on that one. I fucking hate it shorting at the low of the day just because you're risking bottom ticking it. But the reason that strategy just went short was because look how the EMAs are stacked up. So why the strategy took a short there was the distance in between the different EMAs got wide enough right here. See how it contracted, expanded. As soon as it expanded enough, it went short. It just so happened to perfectly align with the low of the day, but I fucking hate when it does that. I should put in a little bit of a filter there just to ensure that we're not within 5 points of the low of the day. I hate when it goes short at the low of the day. I hate when it goes long at the high of the day. In this circumstance, it worked. Like, I'm not saying I lost money. I'm not complaining about it. But just like, if you do that enough, eventually you're going to bottom ticket. Eventually you're going to top ticket. And you're going to feel like a real schmuck. Like a real schmuck. So even though this one technically made me money, it's dangerous, man. It's a dangerous one. It's a very, very dangerous. Dude, Tesla's getting murked. SPY's getting murked. Jesus Louises. Oh, brother, 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 oh, brother. All right, if you're in the Discord, Piper's signal did just fire off. And I am putting it in as quickly as I can. All right, if you're in there, I made my 0DT trade of the day. I'm not doing any swing trades today. Piper just fired. That's in there. And then obviously, if you guys have been watching in real time, you're seeing all my, you're seeing Icarus fire off where I'm just below $1,000 per account. Not a bad day. Not a bad day. How do you feel about Apple? I've been told that one a day keeps the apple or the doctor away. One apple a day keeps the doctor away. But I'm not really sure I buy that. I feel like there's other things you have to do for just general health and longevity and things like that. I'm not sold on this concept of Apple being like the end all be all superfood to avoid doctors. I've actually found it easy enough to avoid doctors by just not scheduling appointments. So if I want to keep the doctors away, where I don't have to answer the awkward questions of how many alcoholic beverages do you consume per week, I just don't schedule a doctor's appointment. The easiest way to avoid that particular question is just not going to the doctors. Just like that. Like I just don't schedule it, and then I just don't go. So that's a health tip from me, Matt. You guys probably didn't know that I also moonlight as a doctor, but I do. It's not that I know anything about like the medical sciences or anything, but I think I just say it with enough confidence that it works. I think I just say it with enough confidence that it really works out. New phone coming out. It's probably an Apple stock question. Well, if it's a new phone's coming out and you know that, that means that the world already knows that. And if the world already knows it, it means it's already priced into the stock. There's no piece of news, unless you're like actively engaging in insider trading, there's no piece of news that you're like, I am the first one to know this. Like, if you know it, if it's like generically available information, it's already priced into the stock. So this idea of like, hey, they're coming out with a new phone. Yeah, no shit. That's what Apple does, dude. Like, it's the... Do you know how fancy schmancy all these models are that people are like creating for this shit? And also, I don't know how much that would even impact the short-term stuff, as in like make me care about it for a swing trade. That might make me care about it for an investment of like, do I think over the years they're going to keep producing better phones that have higher and higher demand and they execute upon it? Well, that's a fundamental question. Do I think the new phone that's going to come out, they come out with a new phone like every year? Do I think that's going to have an impact on the stock in like a day or two? I don't know. It doesn't matter to me. In the short term, I don't ask myself, I never ask myself those fundamental questions. If I'm in a trade for a day or a couple days, I give a total of 0 fucks. If possible, I would actually give negative fucks. But if you're taking fundamentals into account in a short-term trade, as in a day trade or maybe a couple day swing, dude, you're so far off the ball. It doesn't matter. Fundamentals do not matter the shorter the time frame. They very, very much matter the longer the time frame. So I'm not saying that fundamentals don't matter. I'm saying they don't matter for the short term. So I think I have Apple in my long-term account because like, why not? It's a high-flying tech stock. But is the new phone at all influencing my decision of what to do with Apple today or like a multi-day swing trade? No. And I would argue that if you are taking that into account, that's a silly thing to do. That's a very silly thing to do. But hey, if you are taking it into account and it's making you money consistently, as in you're net profitable over the past year, the past 3 years, the past 5 years with your trading methodology, don't let me stop you. But I have a feeling that maybe you need to have more of a robust math-based system rather than it's coming out with a new phone. Leaky bag of mayo. Everybody knows that. Am I the leaky bag of mayo? That's offensive. I, for one, am now offended. The SPY new intraday low and taking out the low for the second time from yesterday. So this thing full tripped it. It went from the low of the day yesterday to the high of day yesterday, back to the low of day yesterday, while the NASDAQ is getting curb stomped like American History X right now. Just getting... What level is support on SPY? Well, if you were paying attention to the show on time, you know that there's a huge amount of open interest at 6415. But that's why you should come to class on time rather than an hour and 50 minutes late and rudely asking a question that the rest of the class already knows the answer to. Probably. Yeah, you should probably do that. Buy PLTR or wait? Matt, thoughts? Why are you buying? Is there anything you have right now that quantifiably tells you this is an appropriate time to buy? What I think doesn't matter. Folks, this is just a game of math. That's all this is. It's not just fucking... It's not some like crystal ball bullshit of like, oh, fucking vibes, man. Mercury's in retrograde right now. Your question is, should you buy now? My question is, what math do you have that suggests you should buy now? That would be my question. If you have a certain, I guess, math-based vantage point of the market that tells you right now is an appropriate time to buy Palantir as in positive expected value, great, have at it. If you don't have that information, you don't buy. Like, folks, make it simple here. Like, this idea of just trying to guess with your gut by, like, just fucking looking at the screen and being like, that looks like the bottom. That's, what the fuck? That's so difficult to pull off. So difficult to pull off. Oh, Jesus. I think we have, someone says, how rude. And then someone else says, exactly. Here we go. The fucking pussy brigade is back in town. Oh my God. How many feelings. But seriously, if I like offended you in any way, make sure you file a complaint. You could email us at media@matthewkohrs.com and we'll make sure to get back to you within 2 business weeks with a sincere apology, because not only do I, on a personal level, care about it, but all the employees at Goonie Trading Inc., Capital, LLC, hedge fund, we care. We really, really care, like, deeply. Like, we wake up in the morning and we think, how can we make all the giant pussies on the internet not upset today? We go to bed at night thinking, man, how could we have made people just like so much happier and feel more comfortable and not step on any toes? We do. And like, we take it super, super seriously. And obviously we are always striving for perfection within that particular domain. So if you feel at all slighted, especially emotionally, which is what we care about the most, emotionally upset, emotionally slighted people, your tickets will be put to priority, and we're going to be getting back to you as quickly as we can, because we truly care. We really, 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 really care. Eduardo is in charge of reporting to hurt feelers emails. Yeah. That's Eduardo's newest job. Eduardo will get back to you. He'll send you a little edible arrangement. Oh. Oh, man. I don't know why you guys are having a bad day. I'm having a great day. I'm making a shitload of money. It's sunny out. I'm going to a fancy dinner tonight. I'm actually, there's 3 very important reasons why you should all be excited for me. Number 1, I'm eating dinner tonight. Number 2, this is the first time, according to my Whoop, that I've slept properly. I don't know how many people care about this. You all should care about this. But this is the first time fucking ever that I have a green sleep score on Whoop. And for a person who is continually in a red sleep score, that was me yesterday. 32%. Hey, don't look at my text. What the fuck is this? Why are people texting me? Why are you guys texting me when I'm on? That's rude. I'm trying to talk to you guys right now. But generally, that's my average. 32, red. You can tell it's shitty because they color it red. Dude, when I woke up this morning and I saw fucking green, I knew it was going to be a good day. I was like, dude, I am feeling fucking ready to rip it. I felt like I could run through a goddamn brick wall when I saw this. So that's the second reason why you should be stoked for me. And the third reason you should be stoked for me, not in any particular order though, is I got actually invited to go see a Broadway show. So your boy's getting real fancy. Like, people are reaching out and they're like, you seem like a guy fancy enough to watch a Broadway show. So your boy's going to Broadway. I don't think there's really crowd participation. I've looked it up. I don't think they're going to like bring me on stage for like a little bit of a tight 5 type of a situation. But you never know. So I'm going to be ready for it. Someone just texted me, I'm a bitch. I don't know how my number gets out there. And I don't know why you guys text me such mean things. But here we are. Adderall and Black Rifle coffee is the secret to getting good sleep. That's what you do right before bed. You just snort some Adderall and rip some Black Rifle coffee. Matt equals high society. Oh, I'm the pinnacle of high society. How long have you been trading futures? Circa 2017, so 8 years. And how long have you been trading options, SPX? Probably like a year after that. I traded futures first. I'm assuming you prefer futures, given you trade them more. No, I trade both of them a shitload. I like them both. It's just they're two different tools for two different setups. It's like you could take advantage of those asset classes in different times. Like I find futures to be very advantageous for day trading, scalp trading. I find options to be very good for 0DTE premium selling and for very good for swing trading. So it's kind of like, what are you trying to pull off? I don't think one is better than the other. I think one is a better suited tool for whatever your current project is. Does the Fed market usually go up or down on days of the Fed rate cut? Good question. And the stats are actually oddly very close to 50-50. And the reason for that is because most of the time, these Fed rate cuts are very well telegraphed. So that's not what moves the market. Getting a rate cut or not, no one's generally surprised. What moves the market is if there is a surprise, whether dovish or hawkish, and also if there's any new and unique commentary in Fed Powell's speech or the Fed chair's speech. But the idea of getting a cut or not, like I said, it's very well telegraphed. For example, we know with about a 95% accuracy, the upcoming September meeting, we're going to get a 25 bips rate cut. So everyone knows it. Like we already very much know it. What time is Icarus based on? Phenomenal question. Multiple time frames. Anywhere from the 1 minute up to the 4-hour data is taken in on the Icarus trading system. I take in that's a lie. I also take in 100 tick data, which can be less than 1 minute. So I take in anywhere from the 100 tick, which time frame agnostic, that could be really fast, that could be really slow, all the way up to the 4-hour. I bet no cut. Well, you would be wrong. You can tell Matt's high society because he uses words like circa. Oh, fuck yeah. Icarus. Well, you guys are definitely not spelling it properly. And I'm not even a guy who like knows how to spell a lot of words. I think I'm actually uniquely bad at spelling most words. But when I can tell that you're spelling the words wrong, that would be an issue. That would be a good history question. Does the SPY drop or rise immediately after a cut? I already told you the answers. It's 50-50. I mean, I have a file here of like, I don't know, various data points, and that's one of them. How does the market do the day of and the day, actually I have the day before, the day of, and the day after Fed cuts, or any Fed meeting. So I just pump that into AI and I say, okay, give me the breakdown on the days there's no cut, on the days there's a rise, on the days that there's a cut, like blah, 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 blah. 50-50 was numerically based. Yeah. And once again, diving into why it's the 50-50 is because it's so well telegraphed. The cuts or the hikes, like they're at least in our central bank, they're never really that big of a surprise. The market, part of the Fed's stated goal is to not be surprising the market. They want it to be well telegraphed. Like that's a goal of theirs. So because that's a goal of theirs, and they just make it pretty evident.
Target filled.
That's it. We crossed $1,000. It's 11 a.m. Another day for affluent, heterosexual, able-bodied white guys. You know, my particular group has been held down for quite a while. For quite a while throughout history, there was never really an opportunity for affluent, good-looking, able-bodied, white Christian men to get ahead. But finally, fucking finally, we're just getting our opportunity. We are getting our chance to really just enjoy the sun. This is the vitamin D of success. It's just, my people, we've been held down for so long. And just like that, I mean, finally putting in 2 hours of work.
Order submitted.
What the fuck? Well, that's not right. Hang on.
Order filled.
All right. Well, I win again. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Dude, we did it again. Oh, sorry. Hang on. It traded again. It accidentally fired, but I made even more money. That's what I'm saying. Dude, my people, it's our time. It's our time to finally enjoy a little bit of the pie, you know? I'm such a fucking dipshit. Well, that's it. That's it for me today. Folks, if you want to trade the way I do with someone else's money, check out Apex. Use that code GOONIE, GOONIE, to get 80% off your test. You could take a test on the 50K account for like $33, $34. Relatively pretty affordable. A great way for you to get started not only in futures trading, but kind of maybe figuring out some of the algorithmic stuff. Obviously, if you want more of a community around that, a group of like-minded people who are doing this exact same thing, that's exactly what the Goonie Trading Discord is for. We talk about futures, we talk about options, we talk about long premium, short premium, we talk about our feelings, we talk about just how can able-bodied, good-looking, affluent white men finally break through. You know, it's just, it's a big manosphere meeting. That part's a joke. We have a girl or two, and they give our community a bit of the edge that we've always been after. Anyway, that's what I have for you. I appreciate all the good vibes. I hope you guys have made a shitload of money today. I hope you make even more shitloads of money later on today. We're going to be posting an update video after the market closes, and then we're going to be streaming once again tomorrow morning, 9 a.m., bright and early. Feel free to bring your grandma. That's what I have for you guys. I appreciate all the good vibes. I appreciate you guys fucking off with me today. Like I said, I hope you made a buttload of money, and if you didn't, hey, there's always time left in the day. That's what I have for you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Smell you later. Bye.